And at the time the revolt broke out, the top of the mountain was taken over by Jewish rebels who held out there even after the revolt officially ended in the year 70 AD. So in 70
Right.
AD, the revolt officially ended when the Romans took Jerusalem and destroyed the Second Temple. But Masada continued to hold out and was not actually taken by the Romans until 3 years later. And the story of the siege and fall of Masada is told by the Jewish historian Josephus,
Okay. Right.
who lived at the time of the revolt. He was not present at the siege of Masada, but lived at the time of the revolt, and who wrote this massive 7-volume work about the revolt called the Jewish War or the Judean War, and concludes this massive account of the war with the siege and fall of Masada. And he basically says that what happens at the end, the Romans besiege the mountain. And again, I was involved in the excavation of Roman siege works at the foot of the mountain. The Romans besiege the mountain, and then they go up and they're about to take it. The mountain's about to fall to them, and they all decide to kill themselves instead of giving themselves alive to the Romans, right? There's this kind of mass suicide. There's a whole procedure. And that is what has, garnered so much attention. Thanks to Josephus's story, very early in, the history of the state of Israel, Masada became kind of a symbol of the state of Israel, right? That, this isolated country surrounded by enemies on all sides, and Masada shall not fall again, that kind of thing. And then was excavated by this sort of legendary Israeli archaeologist, Yigael Yadin, who was also chief of staff of the Israeli army at, some point in his life. So it all becomes, tied up with this, mythologizing of the modern state of Israel. The story of Masada becomes bound up with that, becomes very famous. And in fact, until today, Masada is, I think this is accurate to say, the second most visited archaeological site in Israel.
Oh,
The
very
first
cool.
the first one is I think this is accurate. The first one is Caesarea, which is another one of Herod's sites on the coast, but that gets more visitors because it's very close to Tel Aviv, so it's easy to get to. And
Yeah.
Masada apparently is just behind it. So a lot of people visit Masada when they go to Israel. In fact, I have stuck to my corkboard in my office, I have an old newspaper clipping of Bill and Hillary Clinton on top of Masada.
Oh, really?
Yes. And then when Trump was elected his first term, you may recall this, at the very beginning of his first term, he went to Israel.
Yep, I do remember that.
Yeah, it was like a 22-hour visit or something crazy like that. And I happened to be in Israel at that time. And the Israelis were going nuts trying to figure out what to cram into the 22 hours. Like, what's the most important thing that we need to show, President Trump in the 22 hours that he's here? And I was really surprised that Masada was one of the sites. I was like, sites that they're going to take them to, they're going to take them to Masada. It just goes to show the, the sort of symbolic importance of Masada. In the end, and you may even recall this, he never went to Masada. And the reason is, there's a cable car that goes to the top of Masada, but he didn't want to take the cable car. He wanted a helicopter. He wanted to go by helicopter to Masada, and the Israelis, rightfully, by the way, would not allow a helicopter to land on top of Masada because it would have damaged the archaeological remains there, right? So he ended up not visiting Masada in the end. But yeah, that was like on their list of like, we got to take him to Masada.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Trump damaging Masada with a helicopter.
Wow.
Breaking the archaeological. That's funny.
If you want more conversations like this with the world's leading scholars and skeptics, make sure you hit that subscribe button. New episodes drop every single Monday.